What's up, everybody? Apparently there's no good angle from this vehicle, but what's up? I'm checking in. Let's talk about reality, goodness, and work. So the first thing I want to say is reality seems pretty difficult to find once you get into the real complex stuff, the real long-term sort of tectonic social, economic, financial, international, political forces. Very difficult, even though I'm looking for this all the time, and I've always been a skeptic with a very good bullshit meter. It's still pretty hard to find good sources. But then when I do find those sources, it's a good time to be alive, because there's podcasts and YouTube videos and all sorts of different ways that you can subscribe and get more information from those sources that are worth listening to, which are very few in my opinion. So then one of the next challenges that I've been having recently is a bit of mix of overwhelm, curiosity. One of the tough things is I'm not surrounded by it. I'm really not sure there's many folks that have the interest, let alone the obsession with reality and understanding the way that I do. And a lot of the conclusions that I come to are not only different from common conclusions, but they require that you had the correct contrarian ideas going into, right? The ingredients for the thoughts that are largest and most complex are often contrarian, because there's so much that so many people believe that's absolute nonsense. And I'm not even talking about people's inability to rationalize and actually bring the concepts together. There's garbage coming in, and then the process is pretty unimpressive in most people's case. But another thing that's pretty disheartening is I am connected to quite a few intelligent folks. There's just a lot of them that don't quite have good data coming in, and you'd think that the conversation could be pretty easy, but I've learned to mostly keep my mouth shut, to be honest, when things are political, especially when things are political, I just sort of rather not have the argument. So I end up feeling a bit alone. But the real challenge is, as I get these increasing sort of contrarian viewpoints, I have this discomfort. It's not an uncertainty with my processing, but there's no confirmation coming from the world around me besides things like predictions that I make quietly to myself coming true, the investments that I make paying off, so on and so forth. But to be honest, there's even a lot of loneliness in the work that comes thereafter. There's quite a few people who have jobs and are working jobs. That's not really what I'm saying. It's showing up to your job, to me, is sort of bare minimum. If you don't have two highly lucrative jobs, then we're not even in the same ballpark. I'm working on having two highly lucrative, appropriately, like I work both in software and real estate. The software I work in is in real estate, and I own properties as rentals, right? And both of those things in and of themselves seem like good places to be, as well as they complement each other, right? Like the amount of optimization that I pour into every aspect of my life before the work even begins, right? There's work day to day, and then there's the work of rearranging your life appropriately, and that stuff gets so complex and so heavy, and the amount of effort that's required can be quite a lot, and it can feel exhausting for me when I'm taking in a lot of data about the way that the world may or may not be going, especially when those directions seem very different from what anyone else is doing. And then where does all this lead? You know, I want children. I think it's the most meaningful possible thing you can do. I want to build inheritable power to pass on to them. I'd like them to be highly capable. I'd like to have a lot of net worth to pass on. I'd like a trust that sort of sets up the game rules in a way that hopefully embodies and structures a very wise and supportive game for my family line, so on and so forth. But some of the factors involved here are so large, like the inflation of the dollar, like changes in technology like AI, things like global warming, and I don't want to get too crazy here, but things like ice ages, right? There's a sense of how futile are my efforts. There's certainly been a lot of pressure dividing the classes, pressure crushing the middle class, and I'm desperately trying to stay on the upper class side of that pressure, but I don't know if it's enough. I'm not going to surrender. I find there's nothing else to do but take responsibility and move as effectively as possible in the direction that seems good based on the reality, in so much as you understand that is the work, that's the reality, goodness, and work. So there's no real option for me, and there shouldn't be an option for you. There is an option. You can make all the wrong choices. You can choose not reality and not goodness and not work. It's just, the answers aren't all obvious to me, but I will choose to take responsibility to try to figure out what's going on and figure out what's best to do, and I will do that work. Yeah, so I guess to wrap it up on a more practical note, I'm heading to spend some time with my partner this evening. We're actually going to discuss, I brought up that I don't actually really want to have much playtime and fun. I don't want to have any more of that than I need to. I want to be working, and I would love to bring them into that fold, but I want them to understand how obsessed with reality and figuring out what should be done and doing the work that I am. I want to welcome them into that fold and let them know that I don't want to get together for only silly date nights. I don't really crave that at all. I understand that that's a sort of human need. For me personally, I only want fun or joy or leisure, in so much as it fuels my ability to show up for reality, goodness, and work. It's just those are just supports. And then more on the financial side, I was looking into buying my next property and realizing I think there's some moves that I need to make. I think my most recent property actually needs another cash injection to put myself in a good position there. So I'm going to expand that out and build out another couple master bedrooms into that property. And yeah, summer's sort of coming to a close. The weather is nice right now, and I don't like the state where I currently reside. I'm fully remote. It's fine. I can leave, but I'd really like to figure out where I should be forever. So that's an ongoing investigation and conversation. And I checked out Colorado last month. I will check out North Carolina next month. And I've been around to other lovely places that I don't think are going to quite make the cut. Like I was in Hilton Head last week, and I'll be in Austin in a month from now. And I'll be up in New Hampshire for Labor Day. But I think it's really going to come down to, I'm really looking at North Carolina right now, probably the Tech Triangle. It seems like it might be the most sane, appropriate place to be if I have to be somewhere forever, raising children and grandchildren. But I don't know. So these are some of the big questions for me on a personal note. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for listening. More coming soon. And appreciate you for listening. Please hit me up in the comments. Feel free to ask whatever you like. I'd be happy to start responding to questions. All right, take care.